Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Friday. And if you went out of your way to like, comment, or subscribe, thank you. All right, so the speed of the reel is important when you are fishing different types of baits. Now, they make a bunch of different speeds, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but to me, a 6 and a 7 are really the only speeds you need. So if you look on your reel, either right here on the handle, sometimes they put it right there. This is a 6-3 to 1. Yours may say 6-4 to 1. These type reels will cover all your moving bait. So when you throw a chatterbait, a spinner bait, any type of crankbait, if it's deep diving, lipless, square, basically any bait where the fish are going to hook themselves, kind of, you're still going to set the hook, but you don't necessarily have to reel down and set the hook. The bait is moving and you are controlling the speed of the bait. With your reel handle, it's always going to be a 6 speed when it comes to that. Now, top waters like a walking bait, I like a 6. It just seems like when a bass blows up on that, if you crank and go too fast, a lot of times you're going to pull that bait away from them. So like a big walking bait, I like a 6-3 to 1. But any bait where you are implementing the action by turning the reel, a 6-3 to 1. Now, your high-speed reel is going to be your 7-1 to 1 and up. I feel like once you get higher up in those speeds, like they make an 8 to 1, they make a 9 to 1, what typically happens is you break the handle of your reel. You're turning it so fast that all the torque is going on the handle. So the handles break when you get in those really high-speed reels. So I don't go above a 7-1 to 1, and a 7-1 to 1 is going to cover all your dragging techniques where you're implementing the action with the rod tip. So Carolina rig, Texas rig, a jig, football head, structure jig, whatever it is. Anytime you're causing the bait to move around with your rod, what happens is you move it with your rod, a bass bites it and swims towards you. You need something fast to pick up the slack of the line before you set the hook. So any type of slow moving bait on the bottom, it's always 7-1 to 1. If you're flipping, for instance, it's the same principle. They could bite it when you're moving it, and before you get the line tight, they've swam 5 feet. So always high speed. Same thing goes with like if you're fishing a frog, always high speed. You need something to pick up the slack quick. He blows up on it, maybe he's going fast, he eats it and keeps on swimming. You need to be able to pick up that slack quickly. And baits like a buzz bait would be the one exception. I throw that on a high speed because the second it hits the water, you need to keep it moving quickly. If you want to utilize the entire cast when you're fishing a buzz bait rather, then you need a high speed reel for that. But typically any bait that I'm implementing the action with while turning the handle, that's going to be a 6-3 to 1. And then anytime I need to pick up slack, it could be punching. You drop your bait through the mat, you pick it up, they bite it, you need a high-speed reel to pull them out of there. So high-speed reel for that. Now, that is basically it. Now, there are some top waters and stuff that you're going to be throwing a high-speed reel. Basically, the only top water that I fish a slow speed or a 6-3 to 1 is on a top water walking bait. Everything else, poppers, prop baits, those are all going to be on a high-speed reel because it's the same principle as the frog. They pick it up or they eat it, and you need to pick up the slack quick. Now, a jerk bait is one of those ones that is in between. Depending on how you like to fish a jerk bait, you could go a high speed or you could go a low speed. I think a spinner bait is kind of the same thing too. If you want to be burning your spinner bait, if you're fishing in really clear water, that's when I'll go to the 7-1 to 1. But most of the time, it's a 6-3 to 1 because I typically do a lot better on a spinner bait when I'm reeling it slow. Slow rolling for me is the way I've caught the majority of the bass on a spinner bait. Now, a swim jig, I go high speed because a lot of times you need to really set the hook hard with the swim jig. So if I'm flipping it around, it's kind of like I'm flipping and I'm doing the Alabama shake. It's a high speed, and even when I'm making long casts, throwing it like a swim bait, I do a high speed as well with that because a lot of times I feel like you gotta catch up with them. Now, a big swim bait If I'm throwing it on braid or something, then I can go down to a lower speed like a 6.3 to 1. So that's it. But to keep it very simple, if you're implementing your action with your reel handle, 6.3 to 1. And if you are implementing your action with your rod, high speed 7.1 to 1. So try that, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.